Concerns lead to questions about the use of taxpayer funds by Bright Futures. Plus, Doctors Without Borders looks for answers after a hospital is hit by a U.S. airstrike, killing dozens. And why a local nurse says you should get a flu shot earlier this year.
4 states' most watched news starts now.
An investigation begins into the use of taxpayer funds by Bright Futures. This is KOAM News at 5. Concerned citizens and a local politician meet with Bright Futures USA to discuss its use of funding. Representative Charlie Davis confirms he's meeting with Bright Futures officials and employees today to discuss how Missouri taxpayer money is spent within the organization. Davis said he wants to make sure the money is going to help schools in Missouri. We reached out to officials from Bright Futures USA who were unavailable for comment. A dispute over a legislative effort to defund the Kansas judiciary's budget is now in federal courts. Kansas has moved the lawsuit filed by 4 judges to U.S. District Court in Topeka. At issue is legislation passed this year nullifying the judicial branch's entire budget if a 2014 law stripping the Kansas Supreme Court of its ability to appoint chief judges is struck down. The attorney representing the judges says he's confident that whether the matter is heard in state or federal court, that law would be found unconstitutional. A local tribe receives a portion of the more than $97 million in funding released for Native American community policing and victim services across the country. KOAM's Diane Gerstenfeld joins us live in the studio with more.
Wyandotte Nation received 3 grants in total from the Department of Justice. One, which is close to $300,000, will pay for new police cars, equipment, and officer training. The other 2 grants will help them expand services to crime victims. The police department received about $26,000 to start a new advocate program. It will help crime victims navigate the criminal justice system and connect them with available services. The tribe's Office of Family Services also received a 3-year grant for about $233,000. That money will pay for an advocate to help victims of domestic violence. Its director, Kate Randall, who will take on that role. She says domestic violence has been an epidemic in Native American tribes for decades.
It is the third leading cause of homelessness in America is domestic violence. So in a woman's lifetime, there's 1 in 4 women that will be affected, as well as 1 in 7 men. So the statistics are really 85% women and 15% men.
Family Services will provide victim advocacy services in-house and partner with the Community Crisis Center. Tonight at 6, we'll hear more about the services available.
All right, Diane Gerstenfeld live in the studio. Thanks, Diane. Pressure is mounting on U.S. officials to explain why a U.S. airstrike hit a hospital in Afghanistan, killing 22 people over the weekend. Reporter Mark Phillips has the latest in World Watch.
The question is no longer whether the MSF hospital in Kunduz was hit by U.S. airstrikes. The U.S. has admitted that. The question is how and why. Doctors Without Borders, which has run the hospital, says both the government in Kabul and the United States knew where it was, and that the air raid continued even after they raised the alarm that the facility was being hit. The Afghan government line that Taliban fighters were inside and shooting from the hospital, MSF's UK Executive Director Vicky Hawkins says is a lie.
The comments coming from the Afghan government are absolutely outrageous. I mean, they are to an extent justifying the destruction of a fully functioning hospital.
U.S. Air Force General John Campbell now says it was Afghan units that called the strike in.
The Afghan forces called in for fire to support them because they were under direct fire. We have U.S. Special Forces that continue to train, advise, and assist at the tactical level.
A Pentagon investigation is underway, but MSF says that's not good enough. This is an issue that goes beyond Afghanistan. It comes at a time when the U.S. has been accusing Russia of imprecise targeting in Syria, and that makes it even more difficult to justify this.
And that was Mark Phillips reporting. In Nation Watch, emergency crews are searching for a missing ship, and forecasters say more rain is on the way for South Carolina. Boats, planes, and helicopters are searching across a wide expanse of the Atlantic Ocean for more than 30 people missing from a U.S. cargo ship. The El Faro sank in high winds and heavy seas near Crooked Island in the Bahamas. One body has been found in a survival suit, The Coast Guard describes it as unidentifiable. One of the ship's 2 lifeboats has been found, but it was empty and no other human remains or survivors have been located. Heavy rain continues to drench South Carolina, where rescue teams are going door to door now to check on people in swamped neighborhoods. South Carolina's governor says at least 9 people have died in the state, 5 of them drowned, 4 in traffic accidents. An upper-level low aided by a river of tropical moisture in the atmosphere from Hurricane Joaquin is giving that monster rainstorm an unprecedented punch. Here at home, despite the clouds, it's been pretty much dry across the 4 states. Chilly, though. Doug Heddy.
Yeah, not much going on around here, even though we do have the clouds. Maybe a sprinkle or 2 could pop up as we head through the evening hours. You can see a few showers popping up on the radar, but not a lot of this has really been reaching the ground throughout the afternoon hours. But again, the clouds are going to stick around throughout the evening hours. We could see a random sprinkle or 2, and that should be just about it as we head through the next several hours. But temperatures definitely cooler due to the clouds and a few random little sprinkles. Temperatures hovering right around 60, 61 degrees and will slowly drop back throughout the evening hours. Also, we're going to see some dense fog building in throughout the overnight hours tonight. Kind of all over the place this week. We'll break down the forecast for you here in a bit.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Doug. That is a look at our top stories. Quick check of the weather within the first 7 minutes of KOAM News at 5. Still ahead, Joplin Area Habitat for Humanity dedicates its 100th house since the 2011 tornado. And next in Health Watch, a local health expert recommends getting a flu shot a little earlier this year.
Live from KOAM, you're watching KOAM News at 5. This is the 4 states' most watched news.
The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas recommends the public get a flu shot sooner rather than later. Topping Health Watch, although the flu season typically peaks between December and February, health officials say early vaccinations tend to help prevent major outbreaks. A nurse practitioner with the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas said their clinic in Pittsburgh is already seeing flu cases.
So it's out there, and we should be proactive in trying to stop it. The more we get vaccinated, the more we'll be protected. It's like herd immunity, and those antibodies will be around long enough to fight off any infections that try to take over.
At the center, children 18 and under who do not have insurance coverage can receive that vaccination at no cost. A new movie about a high wire act is causing high anxiety for some audiences. Some people say the walk is giving them vertigo, making them sick. Don Champion reports.
The new 3D movie about the Daredevil 1974 tightrope walk at the World Trade Center is having a real effect on audiences. Some theatergoers say the lifelike high wire scenes in the walk are making them sick.
This is life. You have the illusion of motion while the body is telling you you're not moving.
Ear surgeon Darius Kohan says the battle of the senses between the eye and ear can cause the body to rebel.
Feels like something is poisoned. So the reaction is a gastrointestinal and a reaction where you feel nauseous, you're dizzy.
Research on 3D movies has shown that half of viewers report discomfort, with about 10 to 12% actually getting ill. Dr. Kohan recommends people sit as far away from the screen as they can. He says holding a hand over one eye can help the body reset during dizzying scenes. Avoiding big meals before showtime can also help. Film student Hanson He says he had a strong reaction at this matinee.
I can feel my heartbeat just instantly raised up to it. Oof.
And if you're sensitive to vertigo or motion sickness, experts say you may want to avoid the 3D experience. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
Doctors also warn against taking Dramamine or other motion sickness medications just to view a movie. A new study finds children with ADHD and congenital heart disease can safely take stimulant medications. The FDA currently requires stimulants carry a warning for kids with heart problems, but doctors say stimulants are the most effective way to manage ADHD symptoms. And that is a look at today's health news. A little later.
You could be paying more than ever in fees at your local ATM. I'm Kenneth Craig with a look at their record high rates coming up.
And it's a cloudy, mild, some would say chilly day in the four-stage. Doug Heddy returns with a look at the full forecast.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty cool day for us today. A lot of clouds sticking around all day long, even a few random sprinkles at times. And it looks like this is going to be sticking around as we head through the rest of the evening hours. But if we look down the road, actually our pattern is starting to pick up. We're going to see many storm systems over the next few weeks. In fact, we have rain chances increasing later on this week, Thursday, Friday, next week, the 12th, 13th, 15th through the 18th. So it's really going to get active as we head through the next several weeks. Of course, you can get my long range forecast on my month-long blog at KOAMTV.com. It's actually been pretty calm over the past couple of weeks, so it's about time we start to see at least more action across the region. A lot of clouds right now. Not much underneath the clouds, few random sprinkles, nice shot. Downstream casino, cloudy skies, and temperatures kind of cool for us today. We started mainly into the mid-50s during the morning hours, and we've made it up 60, 61, 62 degrees during the afternoon. Most of us are sitting right around 60, anywhere from Baxter Springs 60, Pittsburgh 60, 60 in Neosho, 61 in Fort Scott. A little warmer, Fredonia 65. Nowata is sitting at about 62. In fact, we'll look at Joplin looking north along range line, currently sitting at 59. North winds at about 5 miles per hour. Pressure is falling. Humidity, of course, high at 87%. But everybody across Central Plains cool. High pressure is in charge, giving us this light northeasterly wind right on top of us. And you can see a few little random light showers and sprinkles. Most of us will stay dry. But again, we'll see a few random ones throughout the evening hours, definitely socked in with the clouds. These are going to mainly roll north of us and then just kind of fall apart as we head through the overnight hours tonight. But the clouds, some patchy fog will stick around throughout the overnight hours. Of course, we have the flooding right off the coast of the Carolinas, big upper level low, plus still a hurricane, Joaquin, a little farther off the coast, still a Category 1. So these two combined producing all the rainfall across the eastern seaboard. And if we look back toward the west, here's our next wave building across the southwestern parts of the U.S., which is going to combine with this system in the Pacific Northwest, giving us chances for rain by late Thursday, plus cooler temperatures as we head toward the weekend. Tonight, just some clouds, temperatures down into lower 50s. We're going to have the fog throughout the overnight hours. Then we'll warm up. I actually think it's going to be a pretty good day. We'll see partly sunny skies, 67 by noon, high temp up to about 75 degrees. So really not that bad across the region. 75 tomorrow, 78 Wednesday, 82 Thursday with a cold front, some scattered thunderstorms. So we'll cool down by Friday. The weekend, fantastic. 72 Saturday, back to 82 on Sunday, but more rain chances over the next few weeks.
Well, we've been on a roll as far as nice weekends go. Looks like we can expect another one.
This should be number 5 in a row.
Wow, sounds good. Thanks, Doug. Missouri National Guard adds hundreds of jobs. Details ahead. First, though, we take time to honor a local veteran of the U.S. Navy. Weir, Kansas native Alan Barnes served from 1942 to 45. In World War II, he earned a Good Conduct Medal and Silver Stars, among other medals, and we are proud to salute Quartermaster Alan Barnes, a four-state hero.
Doug Heddy has earned the NWA Seal of Approval and is an AMS certified broadcast meteorologist.
In Money Watch, Joplin Habitat for Humanity celebrates a significant milestone following the 2011 tornado. Welcome home, Boykin family. Their new house, located at 2319 Moffett Street, is the 100th home dedicated by Habitat since the tornado. Today is also World Habitat Day, today when Habitat for Humanity recognizes the need for housing worldwide. The Boykin family put in sweat equity hours alongside volunteers and are impressed with the dedication of the organization to house families.
They've got the same surge, the same giving power that they did the very day the tornado happened up until today. It's not stopping. Everybody's still there.
The need for housing continues. So partner families, through our committees, through our board, through our staff, we're all dedicated to partnering with those families.
The location of Boykin's house is also located near the large steel cross that remained after St. Mary's Church was destroyed. The Missouri National Guard plans to add more than 400 full and part-time jobs in the state. The new units will be placed across Missouri based on the size of the armory and the recruiting pool in the area. A new transportation battalion will be split between 4 towns. The Guard also will add a military police company in Lebanon. Except for Bridgeton, all the cities currently have armories that will be used for the new units. A new report finds ATM fees have reached record highs. Kenneth Craig reports from New York and tells us about steps consumers can take to avoid paying high fees.
They're designed for convenience, but at ATMs across the country, some consumers are paying a heavy price to get their money.
I mean, no one likes having their own money ripped away from them like that.
A new report from Bankrate.com shows the average out-of-network ATM fee is now $4.52. That's up 21% in the last 5 years.
That's really highway robbery. That's highway robbery.
And the fees vary from city to city. The study found Atlanta, New York, and Phoenix have the highest in the country. Kansas City, Cincinnati, and San Francisco were among the lowest.
It's easier than ever to avoid paying those fees.
Greg McBride from Bankrate.com urges people to use ATMs within their bank's network and recommends joining a bank that reimburses out-of-network charges.
And if you're really in a pinch for cash, you can use your debit card at the point of sale and get cash back. That's tantamount to a free withdrawal.
Banks need fees to maintain the ATMs, but McBride says consumers are getting better at avoiding them.
It's annoying to pay the fees, obviously.
And experts expect the fees will continue to rise. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
The Bankrate.com report also found overdraft fees set a new record. They're at an average of $33. The Martian soaked up moviegoers at the box office. Ridley Scott's 3D space epic touched down in theaters with a robust $55 million over the weekend. That's according to studio estimates. Hotel Transylvania 2 dropped to the number 2 spot, but still brought in another $33 million in its second weekend. Sicario earned a little over $12 million in its debut weekend. And after 2 weekends, The Intern brought in another $11.6 million. Rounding out the top 5, Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials with $7.7 million. The rut of 2 bull moose caught on camera. Up next.
If you see news happening, tell us about it. Send your news tip to news@KOAMTV.com.
Is Joe Biden closer to a presidential race decision? The latest just ahead on the CBS Evening News. Then on KOAM News at 6, grants are given to local tribes for community policing and domestic violence victims. We're going to look more into how the funds are helping those programs. Plus, a campaign in Oklahoma to legalize medicinal marijuana. And the coaches and quarterbacks for both the Chiefs and Rams look back at their team's performances yesterday. Stay with the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, you don't want to get into the way of these two, and ideally, you wouldn't want two moose duking it out in your driveway at all either. But it's not often you get a front row seat to something like this. Look at that. The rut, the season for moose mating, begins at the end of summer, peaks in early autumn. According to the National Park Service, at this time, behaviors emerge that have been dormant for the past year as bulls compete for breeding rights. Perhaps in your front yard. The NPS says the neck muscles of bull moose expand to twice their normal size during the rut. Very large, beautiful animals, potentially dangerous, especially during the rut.
Tough.
Yeah, the largest deer species, I believe.
Yeah.
They're big. Weather looking okay in the days ahead.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. We're going to see some patchy fog for us tonight, but about 76, 77 degrees for us tomorrow, so not a bad day.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.